Joining us now, Erin Perrine. She is Deputy Communications Director for Trump Pence Campaign 2020. Erin, thanks for your patience. Good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me on again, John.
So, Erin, you saw the debate last night. I want to get your take. I've called Joe Biden the clear winner. I have no dog in the hunt. I thought Kamala Harris was a huge loser last night, and so was Christine Gillibrand. I'm trying to figure out exactly how she got elected to the U.S. Senate. That's what comes into my mind. Your take on the debate last night, Erin?
You know, you may say that former Vice President Joe Biden won, but I think the clear winner last night and the night before was President Trump. We just got free advertising essentially on CNN for 2 nights in a row on why we should reelect President Trump. The Democrats, as they allegedly call themselves, but clearly they're socialists, stood on that stage yesterday and promised free for all, a free for all policy that everything is free for everybody. But you know what that means? No money in your paycheck, no opportunity, because they're going to have to take all of your money to be able to even try and afford those plans. And even if they do that, they're still not going to be able to give free health care to illegal immigrants. They're not going to be able to give free health care to everybody in this country because that's not how it works. You contrast that to President Trump, who even just yesterday took actions to help lower the cost of prescription drugs in this country. Those are real results. That's what we want in America, and that's why President Trump's going to win again. So Democrats can keep talking. It just helps us here on the campaign.
How much money are they giving away? I mean, even Biden last night was what blasted, I guess, Harris and de Blasio when he says, I don't know what math you do in New York and California. But he's like, you know, when it's said and done, this is like $30 trillion. It's in your budget. And then he said, even Bernie Sanders says it's over $35 trillion and you got to raise taxes on the middle class. So he was citing Bernie Sanders' math there. I mean, the amount of money, every topic, if you looked at the debate last night, Erin, every topic that came up, the Democrats, the first thing they said is, well, I'm going to invest in that. I'm going to put money in that. I'm going to do this. It's all, I mean, we've got a $22 trillion debt. How high is it going to go? 50? I mean, every single thing last night is their answer was spending more money on it with no end in sight.
Well, yeah, I mean, altogether, if you take all of these socialist, Democrat, ridiculous policies and put a price tag on those, you're talking over $200 trillion. That is greater than the GDP of every country in the world. And that's what Democrats want to do. It's like we're watching a middle school presidential election here where it's like, you're going to get free lunch. We're going to have pizza for lunch every day, all recess all day. And you know what? No homework for you two, no accountability, because to them, it doesn't matter. Contrast that again to President Trump. Wall Street Journal just yesterday had an article that came out that says the 99% take home bigger paychecks and have more money because of President Trump and his policies. Democrats want a free for all. They think that if they give away everything for free and take everything from the Americans, that's what they want. That's not what our country wants. That's not what America stands for. America stands for opportunity, less government, the ability for you to choose your future and your ability to decide how you want to live your life. That's what President Trump represents. That's America first. These Democrats are so out of line, trying to rush so far to the left that they don't even have a base anymore. They've gone off the edge.
Well, certainly the last 2 nights debate. You know, what's interesting last night, too, Erin, is that Joe Biden was, by happenstance, I guess, is now positioned, and the Obama administration is positioned as the moderating voice of the Democratic Party. I mean, when Obama first, in Obama's second term, we all called him a left-wing liberal, and their policies are very liberal and progressive. And now, with this bunch, Obama is becoming the moderate centrist of the Democrats. How did they shift so far left, Erin Perrine, so fast?
Well, I would even say Joe Biden himself, he may try to pretend sometimes that he's a socialist. Sometimes he pretends he's a moderate. He himself has said he is the most progressive candidate on that stage, that they have all the same policies and idea, which means he lines right up with Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. So let's not let Joe Biden get away with trying to pretend that he's a moderate and a moderate voice. And he's got a terrible record to run on if he wants to go back to the Obama-Biden era. We're talking about the loss of 200,000 manufacturing jobs that President Trump has brought back. 500,000 manufacturing jobs in this country. He talked yesterday They talked on that stage about wanting to get rid of coal jobs, energy jobs in this country. That is the fuel and the spark that ignites this country's economy. And he wants to do away with it. I don't know when Joe Biden became such a crazy liberal that coal jobs decided he needed to attack those. Good luck running on that in states like Pennsylvania. Good luck running on those kind of things where you want to take away natural gas. Good luck having that conversation with voters in Michigan. Joe Biden is by no means a moderate, and we can't let him get away with trying to pretend that he is.
Well, certainly compared to some of the ones that he's competing with on stage, save Senator Michael Bennet from Colorado, he certainly seems like the moderate when compared to Kamala Harris. What did you think of Kamala Harris's performance last night, Erin? And by the way, we're with Erin Perrine. She's with the 2020 Trump campaign. She's Deputy Strategic Communications Director. Erin, you look at Kamala Harris, when she was a prosecutor in California, she ran on and kept a pretty tough law and order record. Now she's making believe that didn't exist. And Tulsi Gabbard really called her hypocrisy out yesterday. I think Harris had a terrible night. What say you?
You know, in America, we have laws, and those are laws that need to be enforced. Those are laws that, as a prosecutor, Kamala actually did enforce and made sure that people were held to account in this country. And now, you're right, she wants to pretend like none of that matters. Like, it didn't matter. She even went after Tulsi Gabbard at one point and said, I don't want to just be somebody who goes and makes speeches. I want to be someone of action. I don't know if she fell and hit her head yesterday or what may have happened, but she clearly lost touch with reality on her record and the fact that she is a senator and goes and does that regularly on the floor. She's an elected official. And if she wants results, she should go to the United States Capitol and stop grandstanding around this country and actually do her job for the people of California. I mean, look at the state of California. If you want a clear look at the record of Kamala Harris, look at the state of California, a sanctuary state where they are letting illegal immigrants stay, where those illegal immigrants are doing things like committing crimes. Let's not forget Kate Steinle and her family, who've been working so hard to make sure what happened to her, where she was brutally murdered by an illegal immigrant who should not have been in this country because of laws in California that let people stay. Let's remember those people. That's who President Trump wants to defend. That's who President Trump makes sure every day is the fire to put America first. Because illegal immigrants is not America first. America first is making sure that people like Kate Steinle and her family get to go home at the end of the day and be safe.
Oh, look, you're so right. And the Kamala Harris example you just laid out, Erin, is classic because she actually ran for Attorney General on a tough law and order platform. She was a tough prosecutor, and she had a pretty good track record as Attorney General in California as it related to crime and criminals. She was no pushover by any means, and now she's running away from that. But I thought Gabbard missed a great opportunity last night, and I almost wanted to say it for her. Remember the point you brought up when Harris said, well, it's easy to make fancy speeches. And I was hoping that which Gabbard said, well, I served 3 tours in Iraq. There was not a lot of fancy speeches going on there when people were trying to shoot my copter down every night. Or I was trying to avoid IED bombs. I wish she had said that, but she didn't. Look, end of the day, we've had now 4 debates. The next round, half of these candidates are going to get wiped out. There's only really 3 or 4 of these candidates that are potentially going to be the Democratic nominee. But you look at these 4 debates, and did you ever think you would see this in your life, Erin? The Democrats have moved so far left.
I thought I was growing up in kind of an extreme state. I grew up in the great state of New York, where they continually take away freedom and opportunity from the people there. And then what you saw on those debate stages for 4 nights, and that we'll see for the next 12 months, are people who want to continue that kind of terrible policy that drives families out of New York, that drives families out of states like California, that says to them, you're not going to have an opportunity in this state because we're going to take away your freedom, we're going to take away your dollars, we're going to make your paycheck smaller just so that this nanny state that doesn't work can have more opportunity to tell you how to live your life. That's not America. And that's what those Democrat socialists represent.
Let me ask you something. You're from New York. Were you embarrassed by, your U.S. senators' performance in these two debates?
To say that Senator Gillibrand does not represent the voices of New Yorkers is actually the case. New York City is obviously a very large voting bloc when it comes to the size of the state, but she stood there and she has nothing to run on, nothing to say, no results to show, because she certainly hasn't delivered for anybody in the state of New York. She flip-flops worse than anybody else on that stage. She wants to pretend that she's against the Second Amendment and against the NRA, when before she was a full supporter of the NRA and said that she would make sure legislation was passed to support the Second Amendment and protect people's constitutional rights to carry. I don't know who she thinks she is anymore, but she is certainly not representing the majority of the rest of the state of New York, because you know what? People like myself, people who grew up where I did in Western New York and had farms nearby and had jobs nearby. I mean, you know, I grew up in Rochester. People were leaving because there weren't jobs, just the same as growing up in Buffalo, New York. People are leaving because there aren't jobs. President Trump fights to bring those jobs back for every state. And Kirsten Gillibrand wants to pretend that she's got something different than everybody else, that she's better than everybody else, but she's not. New York is suffering because of her poor leadership, the same way that New York City is suffering under the poor leadership of Bill de Blasio. They just are so out of touch with the rest of this country that they just want to run to their liberal elites, and that's not America.
Well, I couldn't agree more. Great summary. I want to thank Erin Perrine for being with us, Deputy Communications Director, Trump 2020, Trump-Pence campaign. Erin, thanks for being with us. Always great to have you on. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.